Coming up today on BreezeTV.
A campus controversy caused by a new anti-hazing program.
And Operation London Bridge has taken effect in England.
Then how JMU's starting quarterback has battled more than just defenders.
Plus, it's time for a fresh cut at a barbershop in town.
All this and more right here on BreezeTV.
Live from the Allison B. Parker Studio in the School of Media Arts and Design at James Madison University, this is BreezeTV.
Welcome back to BreezeTV. I'm Maggie Rickerby.
And I'm Joshua Dixon. COVID-19 cases within the Harrisonburg community are once again on the rise. Our news director, Zoe Mowry, explored how this is affecting the JMU community.
Harrisonburg has been listed as having a high COVID-19 positivity rate, meaning cases are being undercounted, and there has been a 58% increase in the last 2 weeks, according to the New York Times. Despite these rates, JMU is no longer tracking case numbers. In an email sent to BreezeTV, Jenny Kramer, Associate Director of Communications, says the cases cannot be accurately counted because of, quote, home test results not being reported, individuals opting not to be tested, and the fact that the current variant is associated with very mild or no symptoms for which patients do not test. She also says all cases reported at UHC have been mild. With JMU following CDC and VDH guidelines, it still allows for disagreements within the student population.
COVID is still among us, but I think that it's a lot less of a panic for people just because it's not as new and we're kind of learning to live with COVID rather than avoiding it.
I feel like I have more safety with COVID in clubs than the actual classroom. For sorority, we had an entire meeting about the COVID rules, guidelines, regulations. And for club swimming, we also had an entire thing as if you're not comfortable, you can go into a COVID lane, I guess, with only 3 people.
Assistant Professor of Health Sciences Dr. Suzanne Grossman was surprised to hear that students still worry about COVID inside the classroom.
And now I kind of want to pull my students and see what they think.
In an email sent to faculty of the university, they're asked to, quote, continue to be flexible and understanding in response to health-related student absences, and that faculty may not require proof of a positive COVID test for absences due to COVID. But nothing has been sent to students. Dr. Grossman's biggest advice is to wear a mask if you feel uncomfortable, since COVID-19 might become our new normal.
When COVID started, we started hearing a lot of stories from 100 years earlier that we really didn't know about. So I think that the people who have experienced and lived through COVID will definitely remember it.
Reporting for BreezeTV, I'm Zoe Mowry.
Pick up a copy of The Breeze to learn more about how JMU is continuing to handle COVID-19.
The University Health Center is under a new reign. Dr. Ann Brenneman is named the new director of UHC after Dr. Christina Blyer moved roles within the university. Dr. Brenneman has 10 years of leadership experience and spent 12 years as an advanced practice nurse. Before coming to JMU, Dr. Brenneman led pediatric behavioral health services at a large hospital in Utah.
Now for our reporter Kayla Brown on the new anti-hazing training program. Kayla.
With a new freshman class eager to get involved, rush events underway, and recruitment approaching, a presentation produced by the Gordy Center is teaching students about hazing, how to identify alcohol poisoning, and how to report misconduct.
Anti-hazing training has begun at JMU, but not without controversy. When Pam Steele, JMU's Associate Director of Student Life, invited students to participate in an open-ended portion of the training, she was met with harsh feedback. Comments targeting the Office of Fraternity and Sorority Life were displayed live in the Atlantic Union Bank Center. Students also took to Yik Yak, a popular social media app among college students, to complain about the event. Anonymous users expressed sympathy, while others condoned hazing.
I personally was not super surprised because, in my opinion, I feel that it affirmed the fact that we continue to have work to do around the area of hazing.
The training comes after the passage of Adam's Law, legislation in honor of late VCU freshman Adam Oakes. Oakes died by hazing in February 2021 when members of the Delta Chi fraternity forced him to drink a 40-ounce bottle of whiskey. The law, which went into effect July 1st, requires Virginia universities to hold in-person anti-hazing training for all student organizations and publish records of misconduct.
It kind of busts this subject open and it really breaks it down and talks about what hazing can look like, and it presents it in a way that it's a spectrum.
The Love Like Adam Foundation hopes the new law will bring awareness to campuses across the state, both to students and administration.
Some people want to make change, right? And other people just think that what they've always done is good enough. And I think people don't understand until they've experienced the exact nature of hazing and been in that moment where they might be doing push-ups in their own vomit, or they might be forced to eat a cigarette.
Universities, they're just as guilty because, they turn a blind eye, or they're okay with status quo. Things are okay. We haven't had a death. I mean, that seems to be the benchmark. You're trying to prevent this from ever happening. They have to be held accountable.
Throughout the training, students can use interactive polls, though the open-ended discussion has been eliminated. The presentation stresses that hazing can happen to anyone, anywhere, in any type of organization. Reporting for BreezeTV, I'm Kayla Brown.
If you or someone you know experiences hazing, you can report it anonymously through the Office of Fraternity and Sorority Life on the JMU website. In the weeks to come, I'll be diving deeper into Adam's Law and what the newfound attention to hazing means for JMU. Does it really happen at our beloved school? Tune in next week to find out. Remember to look after one another, Dukes. Josh and Maggie, back to you.
Thank you, Kayla. Drivers can expect to take a detour on Route 720 starting on September 12th. The Virginia Department of Transportation will be demolishing the 62-year-old bridge that runs over the Interstate 81 and will be constructing a new one. The project is expected to last until fall 2023. Coming up next on BreezeTV,
we reflect on Queen Elizabeth's historical legacy and leadership.
Harrisonburg Salvation Army chapter gets an impactful renovation.
We continue stocking up on this week's market update.
All this and more. Stay tuned.
Bojangles, Cajun filet biscuit. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Nothing compares to our signature Cajun spiced chicken breast filet on a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit. Breakfast so good, we serve it all day. Get the best chicken biscuit. The one, the only Cajun filet biscuit. For a limited time, get 2 Cajun filet biscuits for just $5. Bojangles, it's bow time. The one, the only Bojangles Cajun filet biscuit. Nothing compares to our signature Cajun spiced chicken breast filet on a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit. Bojangles Cajun filet biscuit is so good, we serve it all day. For a limited time, get 2 Cajun filet biscuits for just $5. Bojangles, it's bow time.
Tailgating is a song heard across campuses, parking lots, and open fields. They say this song can be heard elsewhere, and perhaps this is true, but it is nowhere near as bright, nowhere near as loud, nowhere near as triumphant as it is right here. Tailgating may not have been born here, but here is where tailgaters are born.
Head to Bojangles for a Chicken Supremes combo with your choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and a drink. Bojangles, it's bow time.
Prescription drug pricing points to corporate mountain.
Freedom of the press is about your right to know.
And Clark sheer athleticism.
It's about your right to be informed. Today, there are real threats to press freedom.
Reaching residential areas.
And your right to know about the world around us. We must protect our right to know, no matter what kind of news is important to you. Before it's too late, understand the threats. ProtectPressFreedom.org.
This is BreezeTV.
A staple of JMU is reimagined for future Dukes.
That's not right. That's not right. That's not right. Carrier.
A staple of JMU is reimagined for future Dukes.
The renovation of Carrier Library will begin in the summer of 2023. There will be a complete closure of the facility until estimated fall 2026. The project is a result of the push for accessibility in compliance with the American Disability Act, funded by a state grant, and will not impact tuition or JMU's budget. Dr. Bethany Novisky, Dean of Libraries, said the reconstruction has been a high priority not only for JMU, but for the state. Services will still be available at Rose Library and other locations during the reconstruction period.
Your librarians are going to be here for you, whether that is in providing spaces or providing the kinds of consultation, expert help, makerspace services, all the fun stuff that happens in Carrier and all the things that you really need to be successful in your academic career.
Some classrooms will be turned into study spaces, and D-Hub will serve as book storage. Xavier Williams, the student representative for the Board of Visitors, encourages students to get involved in the planning process.
As Dukes, our goal is to always give back. And so if you look at it from the perspective of you're giving back to something that is going to impact the lives of future students year after year after year, and ultimately you can come back as an alum. I will be able to come back as an alum and say I was a part of the conversation that helped make what was, which now is, Carrier Library.
Carrier will also be a lot larger following the renovation. Shadi Bakhtiari, student body president, says her biggest concern is the amount of space in the library.
I think, the more we grow, the more people we get, it's going to be so nice to see an expansion, to see a renovation, to see something different, to see how the space can better be utilized too, because I know they were talking with a lot of architects, a lot of the design companies, to see how they can revitalize that, and that's something that I think is really going to be exciting.
Reporting for BreezeTV, I'm Maggie Rickerby.
The Harrisonburg chapter of the Salvation Army opens the doors to its newly renovated Family Services and Emergency Shelter Center. The renovations to the space include a complete makeover of the men's and handicap bathrooms, repairment of light fixtures, and a fresh coat of paint throughout the entire building. The lieutenant of the Salvation Army, Dwayne Burley, said that although there's a rise of homelessness in Harrisonburg, there are one of the few places that take in families.
Children to find a place to home them and house them and make a difference. Men and women can kind of go into other shelters, but this is unique in ours that we can women and children as well as men and women. And the idea again is to help them end homelessness in their cycle and move into their own responsible places of living.
The facility is now open for emergency shelter. For more information on this program and others, visit salvationarmypotomac.org/HarrisonburgCorps. Now for our reporter, Regine Aranazari on politics.
Good afternoon, JMU. I'm Regine Aranazari, and this is BreezeTV Politics. Queen Elizabeth II, Britain's longest reigning monarch, died peacefully at the age of 96, royal officials announced yesterday. The Queen ascended to the throne in 1952 and reigned from the industrial era to the internet age. The Queen's eldest son will now be known as King Charles III, and his wife Camilla will take over as Queen Consort. We have political science professor Dr. Shep Burrell in studio to discuss the Queen's legacy and the future of the British monarchy. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks.
How has the Queen's reign impacted England, and what effect will she leave?
Well, I mean, it was a very long reign, and the world is very different in 2022, obviously, than it was in 1952. So I think her message ultimately is one of constancy, of public service, of commitment to a UK that has changed significantly since the time that she entered office.
And King Charles will be the oldest person to take on the British throne. How will his reign differ from the Queen's?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, I think the one important aspect is just the state of the United Kingdom right now. Obviously, it's been a rough few years for the UK. Brexit threw a bit of a wrench in the works of Brits' self-perception and the relationship among the different segments of the United Kingdom, the relationships between England and Scotland, between England and Wales, between England and Northern Ireland. These things have all been brought into question. So I think it's significant that one of the first things that King Charles will do is make a sort of grand tour to the different nations and sort of try to convince them that there's still a strong place in the United Kingdom for them, and that he represents all of them and truly does help to unite the United Kingdom.
And as we transition into a newer era of the British monarchy, will the duties of the royal palace be redefined?
Well, perhaps. I mean, I think that it's in theory, a somewhat flexible institution, that the personality and the priorities of the incumbent do shape the way that the whole system operates. So we'll see, but I do believe that any king, any sovereign, any head of state wants to keep their country together, wants to keep their population strong, wants to give people strength at moments of challenge, and really, wants to unite people that otherwise disagree with each other in quite fundamental ways.
Thank you again so much for joining us. And now for the Madison Market update. U.S. stocks rallied today, breaking a 3-week negative streak. The Nasdaq surged 1.7%, while the S&P 500 soared 1.2%. The Dow Jones is up about 0.9%. Oil prices continue to climb this week following OPEC's announcement to reduce oil production. Global oil prices have dropped more than 20% since June, and producers are preparing for the risk of economic downturn in order to meet demands. West Texas Intermediate and Brent crude oil each rose 2.8% to $85.88 per barrel and $91.66 per barrel. That's all for politics. Maggie and Joshua, back to you.
Thanks, Regine. When we return on Breeze TV,
the Dukes look to continue their hot start in football's second week matchup against Norfolk State.
Women's soccer continues a blazing hot start against Northern Colorado.
A new homestyle hotspot is bringing the heat to the Bird.
All this and more coming up next.
Bojangles, Cajun filet biscuit. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Nothing compares to our signature Cajun spiced chicken breast filet on a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit. Breakfast so good, we serve it all day. Get the best chicken biscuit. The one, the only Cajun filet biscuit. For a limited time, get 2 Cajun filet biscuits for just $5. Bojangles, it's bow time. The one, the only Bojangles Cajun filet biscuit. Nothing compares to our signature Cajun spiced chicken breast filet on a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit. Bojangles Cajun filet biscuit is so good, we serve it all day. For a limited time, get 2 Cajun filet biscuits for just $5. Bojangles, it's bow time.
Tailgating is a song heard across campuses, parking lots, and open fields. They say this song can be heard elsewhere, and perhaps this is true, but it is nowhere near as bright, nowhere near as loud, nowhere near as triumphant as it is right here. Tailgating may not have been born here, but here is where tailgaters are born.
Head to Bojangles for a Chicken Supremes combo with your choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and a drink. Bojangles, it's bow time.
Every year, 4.5 million young adults between the ages of 18 and 24 visit the ER.
It's every parent's nightmare.
Umergency gives you all the tools you need to quickly and effectively manage your family's emergency. Umergency provides instant access to vital resources, customized to your student's campus and local community, digital consent form, and built-in urgent alert button. Umergency gives you peace of mind when you need it most. Download your Umergency app now.
This is Breeze TV.
Todd Centeio lit up the field in his first game at JMU with 6 touchdowns and over 100 yards rushing. But he's had to battle before getting to this point in his career.
Before Todd Centeio became JMU's new starting quarterback,
He had a long journey of obstacles and adversity.
The things that I've been through in my life, kind of build confidence when you can overcome a bunch of stuff that you have to face. And I feel like that's really why I'm so confident, because I battled back.
In his junior year of high school, he was diagnosed with an inflammatory disease known as lupus and almost lost his life to kidney failure.
When Toddy got sick, it changed him. Like we felt like our whole lives just imploded, but it changed him for the better. He's an amazing person.
During his hard-fought battle with his health, he lost a lot of big offers. Yet, Centeo still managed to chase his dreams and achieve his goals.
You battling a bunch of stuff, those are like wins that people don't know of, but you know of.
This ability to overcome is one of the many reasons that make him such a great leader.
The guys, they really rally around him.
He's always made friends, and he's made and kept friends on other teams that we played against, that we had rivalries against.
This can be seen through all the support he receives from previous teammates, coaches, friends, and family.
That's what means the most to me, just seeing how much people care about me still, even when I'm not there. And there's it really puts in perspective the kind of impact that I have on those kind of people, because those people mean the world to me, and I really appreciate all the love.
It's this support and his noble characteristics that have helped lead to record time success in his first game at JMU.
Todd Centeo, 6 touchdown passes in JMU's debut in FBS. Good win for Centeo.
For Todd, this is only the beginning, with a whole season in front of him and a promising future just around the corner.
I'm very proud, and I'm very excited for his future. No matter what it is, he's going to be successful.
This is Joshua Dixon reporting from BreezeTV.
Centeo has been added to the Davy O'Brien Award midseason watch list after his Week 1 performance. JMU football has now had their eyes set on Norfolk State. The Spartans come off a 55-3 loss to the Marshall Herd and will have to take on another Sunbelt team in the Dukes. And while the JMU may be favored to win, the team isn't taking this week lightly.
It's all about your standards and how you do things. Your standards of preparation, that they really can't change. When we play at home, we play with a lot of energy and we fly around, and that can't change. And we execute well, and that can't change.
The Dukes will continue to look to their strong start in FBS play with another win. Kickoff is at 4 p.m. this Saturday at Bridgeforth Stadium.
JMU women's soccer was back in action at Centera Park last night to take on Northern Colorado. After a stalemate through the first 26 minutes of play, JMU found the back of the net to take the lead. The Dukes were able to double their lead in the second half of play. Northern Colorado scored in the dying seconds, but JMU still pulled away with a 2-1 victory. The Dukes will once again be at home on Sunday as they face Oregon State, which will be their last non-conference game before they begin Sunbelt play next Friday.
A new restaurant's doors are finally open downtown. Texas Inn is an authentic style diner that offers a wide variety of options. From all-day breakfast to fully homemade menu items, this new diner is a standout spot amongst a packed downtown restaurant row. David Saunders, owner of Texas Inn, shares why this new addition to the city is so special.
Inn is old, and I think there's a wonderful thing about nostalgia. People long for a day where there's a diner, where they can get a hot dog and a hamburger, all-day breakfast. They can get a bowl of chili. They can sit on a little red stool. Most of those places around America sadly have closed.
The restaurant offers dine-in, a to-go order window, and delivery options through DoorDash and Grubhub. Saunders says it's the perfect place for college students to satisfy their cravings after a fun night out.
When we return for the final stretch,
we're getting our hands dirty with a new exhibit at the Duke Gallery.
We trim up at a barbershop opening its doors to more than just great cuts in our community.
A beauty shop moving across town goes above and beyond to offer its hospitality to residents.
Stay tuned for the finale.
Bojangles, Cajun filet biscuit. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Nothing compares to our signature Cajun spiced chicken breast filet on a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit. Breakfast so good, we serve it all day. Get the best chicken biscuit. The one, the only Cajun Filet Biscuit. For a limited time, get 2 Cajun Filet Biscuits for just $5. Bojangles, it's bow time. The one, the only Bojangles Cajun Filet Biscuit. Nothing compares to our signature Cajun Spice Chicken Breast Filet on a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit. Bojangles Cajun Filet Biscuit is so good, we serve it all day. For a limited time, get 2 Cajun Filet Biscuits for just $5. Bojangles, it's bow time.
Tailgating is a song heard across campuses, parking lots, and open fields. They say this song can be heard elsewhere, and perhaps this is true, but it is nowhere near as bright, nowhere near as loud, nowhere near as triumphant as it is right here. Tailgating may not have been born here, but here is where tailgaters are born.
Head to Bojangles for a Chicken Supremes combo with your choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and a drink. Bojangles, it's bow time.
Prescription drug pricing points to corporate mountain.
Freedom of the press is about your right to know.
And Clark sheer athleticism.
It's about your right to be informed. Today, there are real threats to press freedom
reaching residential areas
and your right to know about the world around us. We must protect our right to know, no matter what kind of news is important to you. Before it's too late, understand the threats. ProtectPressFreedom.org.
Yes.
Is BreezeTV.
Joining us now is Janice Woodson with reporter Sam Game.
Thanks, Josh. I'm here with Janice Woodson, the president and creator of JMU Health in Color. Thanks for joining me. What is Health in Color's mission?
Our biggest goal and mission is to decrease the racial disparity gap in the U.S. healthcare system by providing education and resources to students of color here at JMU.
And in what ways are people of color affected, discriminated against in American healthcare?
One of the biggest ways is that we are not educated. We aren't given the resources to be able to have healthy behaviors. Another way that we are discriminated is unconscious bias or conscious bias in the healthcare system, also in the doctor's office. Those are ways that we are discriminated against.
And what can JMU students take away from your organization?
The biggest thing I want people to take away from our organization is to understand that it starts with us. We have to educate ourselves so we can be able to speak up for ourselves in the doctor's office or outside of the doctor's office. Also, I want them to take away that you can take it back home with you. So a lot of times, like when I go back home, I take my grandfather to a doctor's office or a doctor's appointment, and I speak up for him in the office because sometimes, he's not able to, and I want other people to be able to do that for their community as well.
All right, and where can we find Health in Color?
You can find us on Instagram at JMU_Health in Color.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us again. Back to you, Joshua and Maggie at the desk.
The Classics Barber Studio had its grand opening this past weekend, and owner Fernando Garay Jr. says the shop will focus on bringing barbershops back to what they used to be. Our executive editor, Zia Fakari, takes a look at what it's like being in the barber chair.
The buzz of clippers and laughter can be heard in the new barber studio on Neff.
Bring everybody together, everyone look fly, get fly. This is a community center, the barbershop. Everybody knows each other in here, so that's what makes it so special.
Barbers from the community were drawn to the shop because of the environment.
I decided to make the move here probably like 2 months after it was open. I was working at a different barbershop in Harrisonburg, and I came by, talked to Fernando, and the vibe was there. It was awesome, and I was just like, I gotta come work here. So I put my 2 weeks in my other job, and now here we are.
Garay said his shop will act as a hub for everyone in the community.
I've worked at a lot of barbershops in Harrisonburg, almost all of them, and I follow Fernando on Instagram. We was just talking back and forth, and he gave me a great opportunity I couldn't pass up. And everybody's like family, man. Like everybody's like a brother here. It's a different vibe than all the other barbershops. Like You can come in here. Sometimes there'll be a kid crying in a chair. So we got Mickey Mouse on the TVs. Make the community feel good looking. You know, everybody come here and just, like I said, sit down in a chair, have a conversation, because men come here, you know, just like women go to the nail shop to feel good. That's all we want. We want this to be a comfortable place for everybody.
Reporting for BreezeTV, I'm Zia Fakiri.
The Duke Gallery of Fine Arts started off their season with a brand new exhibit. True Grit covers artist Nikisha Durrett's family history. She used dirt from her hometown, Brooklyn, D.C., as a medium to display the quote, "Watch me bless this house." The quote is from a story that she wrote about her great-grandmother, who would pour water from altar drapes on the ground around her home. The installation also has porcelain sheets that once covered items that Durrett collected from the women in her family.
That these matriarchs in this family may have touched or rubbed over time and kind of contain a part of them. But I think removing those objects is in a lot of ways more powerful than actually having the objects here, because they're gone just like they are. But the impression of them is still there.
True Grit will be at the Duke Gallery of Fine Art until October 15th.
A local beauty shop downtown with Simplicity recently moved location and is giving away their parking spots to one person every month. Mary McMahon, the director of marketing operations for the shop, says the idea came about when it took her 15 minutes to find parking, even though she lived downtown.
Yeah, in general, downtown parking is, well, it's hard to find. The city recently redid all the parking, so employees currently, if you work a full 8-hour shift, you have to park on the outskirts of downtown and walk at nighttime by yourself to your car, which as a business of all women, we don't think that's the most safe option. So by having that parking spot, I mean, we aren't parking there. However, it gives someone else an opportunity to park a little closer. But
With Simplicity will give the parking spot to a new person every month. Check out their Instagram at withsimplicity_beauty to learn about how to enter. Well, Maggie, another great show down. That's 3 in. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. I feel like we've done a pretty good job.
I think so too. I need a little break though. You know, might go catch the game this weekend, take a nap. I'm sure.
Might go take a little nap too.
All right. Thank y'all for joining us today.
See you next time, same place.
And remember, Dukes, look out for one another.